I was at a point where I said, I'm already broke. Like, hello, my name is Aaliyah. I am an up-and-coming artist. I paint, I sing, and I just wanted to get on here and talk about my upcoming EP titled Sense of Self. I'm so excited to share. It is just days away, and yeah, I wanted to get on here and talk a little bit about this project. So, as some of you know, I released my first single back in April, right around my birthday, titled That One Thing. And I was just super happy to do it because it was right about my birthday. It felt like a new chapter, and I just felt like expanding and pushing and, ready to turn over a new leaf in my life. What you don't know is that I've actually been working on this project, these multiple projects, for over a year at this point. And it's actually last year that I decided that I full-time didn't want to even pursue a career in art, music, anything like that, because that was me embracing my full authentic self. Me saying to myself, this is really what I want to do with the rest of my life, because I would have other jobs and have other career paths that I wanted to go down, and I would say to myself, oh, I'm just gonna fill this void by doing like maybe a coaching job on the side, or maybe doing a little thing here, like taking a class here or something like that, instead of actually full-time pursuing it. At the end of the day, that was just fear talking, and I had to sit with myself and say, no, this is actually a full-time thing that you want to do, and you don't have to keep pushing that to the side and ignoring that part of you. So after some reflection, I realized this is what I want to do for real with the rest of my life. And I was at a point where I said, I'm already broke. Like, I'm very much already at a point where I'm not making a lot of money. Any field that I would enter, I would be at the beginning of. Any path that I would go down career-wise, I would have to be starting from scratch anyways. And I said, if I want to actually, put my all into something, if I actually want to pursue something full-time, I want it to be something that I deeply care about, that deeply makes me want to get up every day and keep pushing, so that it's not a struggle to get up in the morning, because I know that feeling. It's about picking the battle that I wanted to do. So I said, I'm just gonna go for it, because if I'm gonna struggle, I'd rather it be something worthwhile. So what started as just painting and doodling around, trying to make little TikToks or YouTube videos, doing either nails or art with painting and acrylics on canvas, I had to tell myself that music was my first love, and it always has been. I've always loved to sing. I've played saxophone for years. I've dabbled in a little bit of piano. I did band, concert band, marching band, choir, all these things music related. And so I finally let myself feel that, and I said, I want to combine the two and let that be my form of expression and storytelling. What began as me just doodling around on the computer, trying to make little beats here and there, see what was coming out, slowly became little moments, slowly became other songs, until I realized the story that I was trying to tell. And I realized that I was expressing and kind of describing my process of discovering myself after going through some pretty traumatic events that happened. Now, I don't want to sit here and trauma dump on nobody. I will share a little bit just to give some context and help explain just the thought process behind my certain songs and what headspace I was in, what was going on that led me to this point. Number one, I left home really young. Pretty much a few months after I graduated, I moved out, and it was simply me needing to get on my own and be my own person. It's not something I'd recommend to many people, but it's something that I needed to do for myself, because I knew that who I wanted to be didn't always align with what everybody else had in mind for me. And I really needed to get on my own so that I could truly explore myself and learn who I was as a person and be able to pursue the life that I wanted. But shortly after, when I was about 19, my father had passed away due to some health complications. It wasn't necessarily expected, and it was a lot to process. It was a very hard, grieving process that I had to go through. And to put it lightly, my father was not the kindest person, and I not only had to grieve his physical presence being gone, but also the idea of the relationship that I wanted with him would no longer have a chance to be around, would no longer have a chance to flourish. And because I was in this negative mental space of just being cloudy, grieving the death of my father, feeling lonely, feeling isolated, I was just looking for comfort in any form. That led me to becoming involved in a domestically violent relationship, and it was bad. It was very bad. Even though I never thought I would be that person, and you hear so many people say that all the time, you never think it's gonna be you until it is you. And there were just so many times that I was miserable and I was being hurt in so many ways. I was being abused, and it was just one of the hardest things that I had to deal with. And I mean, everything from verbal attacks, being humiliated like in public and different things like that, all while pregnant. I became a mother at the age of 20, and you know, that may not be super young, but it was still very young in the sense that I was scared. I didn't know me. I didn't know what it meant to even fully love me, connect with me, anything like that. And now I have to bring a child into this world, and I was terrified, very much terrified of the thought of becoming a mother. And so I left with nothing to my name. No money, no job, no car, no anything. And it really, really took so much of me putting my pride aside, keeping my little bit of dignity that I felt like I had left, and just saying, I need to do everything I can to make a better life for me and my child, because not only did I not deserve it, but more importantly, my son didn't deserve a life like that. And so through my art and my music, my goal is to walk people through the lens of someone dealing with grief in different ways. The good, the bad, the ugly, because I'm not gonna act like I was perfect or completely innocent and I didn't have any missteps myself along the way. And my hope is that anybody who hears it hears the message behind it, that there is a way up, that they're reminded of their own resilience, and that it's not the end of the road, whatever that looks like in another person's life. And I learned that being transparent, being authentic, being honest with yourself first, before you are that with anybody else, is the quickest and most efficient way. Not that you can rush a healing process, not that you can rush a grieving process or anything like that, but most efficient way, if you are looking to heal certain aspects of yourself that have been wounded, is to be authentic and is to be transparent and to talk about it. And so with that all being said, I hope you get a chance to listen to the project and have fun with it still, because at the end of the day, it's not all sad. You know, life is about balance. Life is about finding the joy and the happiness in those moments of sorrow, in those moments of pain, finding those pockets of joy to cherish and hold on to, and also learning from the lessons, moving on, and being able to grow and laugh and sing, write, dance about it, and move forward. You know, because over here, we gonna kiki about it, and we also gonna cry about it. Like, we're gonna do both, because both are necessary in that process of healing and of finding yourself. And that's the whole point. And regardless of where my story finds you on your journey, my goal and my hope and my prayer is just that it helps you, and it is able to help you better discover your own personal sense of self. So thank you so much for listening. I am so excited for y'all to hear it. Be sure to go check it out wherever you get your tunes at. YouTube, Apple, Spotify, I don't care, girl. Just go ahead and get into it.